Okay, we're covering the shit because a lot of news happened. We're starting with Atlanta. They dropped Narrow, Venom, OG, Ultraviolet, Speedily, Kai, and Player Gator. They re-signed Hawk and Vigilante. They signed Stalker, Lip, Chio, and Fielder. And then they signed Gator as the head coach and Wizard Young as the assistant coach. I will... Next, you start us off.
Yeah, so I would say this is pretty clearly an upgrade, of course.
Okay.
Lip being the best hit scan in the entire league is, it's a pretty common opinion. And
Yeah.
Stalker is probably, I would say, he is one of the most flexible. He's, of course, a hyperflex, so he can play everything. And Lip, for a hit scan, is very flexible, and we've never seen the limit of his pool. So that
You've seen him play Tracer and whatnot before.
Yeah, and he picked it up like nothing. So
yeah,
and then the backline, of course, is from the Fuel, which was a astonishing backline. It was really good. Let's see, Fielder, probably the best raw healer, best supportive flex support, and Chio was, coming in, he was already up there with Vindame and Chorong, and I think this year he looked like the best Lucio in the game, so that's really promising. And he showed us he could play Brig.
Yep.
So I would say everything is solid. The only questions people will have is Hawk, because he's, well, A, not Korean, and B, his main tanks didn't look on the same level as his off tanks, of course.
Yeah.
I would say Vigilante is a monster of a second flex support. Like, he deserves to be starter in basically every single other team in the league. So having him as your second is just ridiculous. That's massive. He is really good. And then, of course, the coaching is also the second thing next to Hawk, which does worry me a bit, because he is not a Moon, he's not a Krusty or a Rush, but I think it's pretty hard to mess up this team, so he should be fine in most positions. But I'm kind of confused at how he's gonna solve the Hawk solo tank situation. Yeah, that's where I would start off.
Yeah, I more or less agree with you. I mean, I think I'd probably give more benefit of the doubt to this team, just because, like, Gator has been in a leadership position on this team for most of the time on the roster, or that reign have been a team. So obviously, I think his pickup makes a lot of sense. Wizard Young's there to be a translator, and he was pretty good on Soul. So I think the coaching staff, not as good as like Shock's or Dallas's or whatever, obviously, but I think it's solid. I mean, Hawk, we'll see. I think he was definitely a bottom tier Winston, but he was able to pick it up and not be a complete thrower in midseason madness. So I think if he really grinds out the Winston and Ryan, which are the main things missing from his hero pool, he should be able to be good. I mean, I think he was a top 5 tank last year, and so he's definitely talented. I would say for this team, my prediction would be I would say top 3 with maybe a stage title, in the right meta. I think that's around where I expect this team to be. Eli, what do you think?
I want to go back to your point about Hawk. I really, really don't think he has to do much to become the solo tank. I know we kind of argued about like how flexible he was a few days ago in the server, but I really don't think. I think if he just gets the ability to learn Winston, they shouldn't have a problem. I think Hawk could easily be a solo tank because like we're in a point in the game where we don't really need players to learn like characters like Ryan and Wrecking Ball, because if Hawk knows Diva, Hawk can learn Winston. He won't need to learn Ball in like any meta. Same with Doomfist. He already knows how to play a very good Doomfist. And because of his ability to play Orisa, I also don't think that'll mean he has to play like Reinhardt. I think top 3 is where this team should be pushing for. I think you guys said it already, but like this team is really stacked. But at the same time, I think there could be some communication issues. That's like the number one thing that's holding this team back, at least for me, is just those communication issues that we were talking about before. Another thing I look forward to is hopefully being able to see Lip and Stalker just become hyper flexes. I think we were talking about it the other day, but Lip could probably pick up some of those flex DPS and look very, very strong. I think there's a good chance of it.
I've seen like Shy pick up the Echo and Tracer and look good on them, so oh yeah, because you get like Stalker Sojourn and Lip Widow. No. And a fucking Vigilante and Fielder double flex. Fuck, dude. Yeah, I feel bad for Vigilante. Like, imagine going from fucking, he was underage for half of the season. Then Rain was struggling when he was on there. Now he's benched for Fielder. Like, give my boy a starting spot. I think he could be top 3 if he had a decent starting spot in the league. Maddie, Cormac, do you guys have any predictions on where this team is going to end up by the end of the season? Do you think top 3 is too high? Or do you think they're going to be like easy number 1?
I think they would get top 3.
Okay. Yeah, so it's kind of like top 3 is probably where this team should be ending up for most people. Yeah. Okay. So after the Rain, this other team is pretty polarizing. We have the Boston Uprising. They dropped their entire coaching staff and all of their players. They signed Decay, Striker, Bergering as their DPS line. They have Smurf as their tank. And they have Lee Jae-gon and Izayaki as their support line. And then they have Dongsu on the head coach. This seems like Omega stacked. Smurf and Izayaki are both role stars. Lee Jae-gon was still top tier last year. Striker was a fucking grand finalist last year. Decay was fucking carrying Washington. Like, these guys are stacked, but there's definitely overlaps in hero pool between everybody. Like, all these guys in the DPS line, they're all like based on hit scan. And I'm expecting Decay to have to like pick up the Genji and Echo or Pharah or whatever. But I think he really shines in the hit scan tracer position, which I don't think he'll be playing that very often. Next, you got something to say?
Yeah, so that's the first thought I had as well. The DPS was the surprising part of this team. I think as they are now, they should be fine. Like, I can see why they pick up striker if they go with Bertring and Decay, but I also think there were better options. I would much rather have seen them pick up a flex DPS. For me, yeah, the Decay was. I would also rather see him on like Hitscan. He did. I mean, people are really hard on him nowadays. I think they are really hard on him. He was still like ranked top 3 last season in final blows per death. Like he was an efficient player. His tracer was top 3 statistically. He was dubbed with like being immortal on the tracer. He was really good. I think he was also like 4th or 3rd. He was really high on like deadlifts. So he is still really good. And I think he picked up the Sojourn late. And even when he picked it up late, he statistically outperformed like all kinds of other Sojourns, like Edison, Happy, Aspire, Fitz, even Leaf and Shy. Granted, Shy's stats in the regular season do not reflect his actual skill, but that's still very impressive. So I actually kind of wanted to see some more of his hit scan. Bertring did look good in the Legends battle, I believe, but that was against mostly retired players. So I still think he has to prove himself. Of course, we're talking a lot about the DPS. I think the tank is, of course, spectacular. Smurf was, I would say, at least top 2 in solo tanking, of course. He proved his flexibility. He proved how reliable he was. And I would say the backline has still more to prove. I think they kind of underperformed for a lot of people, especially like beginning of the year. But people also have to remember that the Dragons were in a lot of trouble, like outside of the game at the start of the year. Like they were in a facility that wasn't finished. They had internet that was worse than Wi-Fi. They lived in horrible conditions apparently, and I think that really affected them. And their tank line was still figuring out which played which hero. I think that the support line got I don't think they got a fair chance last year, and I think they have a lot to prove. Of course,
Yaki still won Roll Star despite everything. Like,
yeah,
do you disagree with that?
Yeah, I think I mean, of course, I would disagree with it probably, but the fact that he was even considered still says lots about him. And his break was really surprisingly good. And Lijigan, of course, is considered the greatest main support probably of all time. At least the most, like, if you look at his resume, it's all gold. It's all gold.
Yeah.
It's a stunning resume. So I would not be worried about anything other than the DPS rotations, probably. And I would still rather see them pick up a flex DPS, but that's my personal take on that. I think they would come pretty far. I don't see them as title contenders. Maybe some people do. I think the shock will just blow them away. But I think the rain, like Lip will diff whoever is on the hit scan here. Like Stalker is like a Zest with hit scan. Like he's gonna roll. Like Decay would be off-rolling if he's on Genji, in my opinion. His Genji was nearly as good as his Sojourn. So if he has to stack up against Stalker, he's not gonna win that. So I think the DPS are just straight up gonna lose to like a Rain. And Fielder is top 2 in his role also in flex support. So I think I don't see them win the league, but they're definitely dangerous. They're really dangerous, and it's a team full of players that have a lot to prove.
I mean, I'm thinking that these guys are kind of in a similar position, I would say, to like the Reign last year. I think they're going to make. I think they have really high peaks in certain metas. I think they're going to make like a deep playoff run or two, but I don't really see them getting past like the Reign or the Shock or maybe even some other teams that we're gonna talk about, like Outlaws. They're looking really stacked. Okay, I want to ask this question to Eli, Cormac, and Maddie. So we've seen a lot of 6-player rosters recently this year, with teams trying to cut back budget and also pick up a lot of the Apex superstars. Do you think, would you rather see 3 DPS, 2 tanks, or 3 supports on a team, and none of the other roles having backups? Because we've seen, Reign, they have 3 supports. Boston has 3 DPS. What do you guys think?
I think
Let Cormac speak, yeah.
I think 2 tanks, because I think for tank, the other sub role might be a bit harder to pick up than X DPS or hit scan or projectile.
Okay. Eli, what are you saying? Talking about teams in general, but you can't talk about Uprising. I mean, obviously Smurf is the hyperflex tank. I mean, I would say imagine the midseason madness meta last year. It was Lucio, Ana, Winston, Tracer. This team is going to go fucking hard in that meta, but I'm not sure about other metas. That's true. And there's also Top Dragon and Spectra from Contenders. A lot of options.
Is Choice 1 still available?
He's LFT. No, he's LFT.
And Yaki?
Yaki's still available too. No, yeah. Those are my thoughts as well. So my current prediction for this team, let me know if you guys disagree. I think I already said it, but I think they're definitely probably top 5 maybe top 6. Like, I think they should be automatically qualifying for playoffs, but I don't really see them being like, I don't see them in any finals and certainly not any titles. Like, maybe they could get a really good push, but I think like you got Shock, you got Rain, all these other teams. Maddie, you have not spoken yet. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
So, moving on to the next team, Chengdu. I didn't even make a slide for them. They haven't made any news. The only thing we've heard about them is that Leave is probably on his way to the Hangzhou Spark. Does anyone have any like burning things they want to say about the team? Like, you know. I feel like it's highly unlikely they keep on to like some of their stars. Like, I think Monk and Gaga are also probably gone. I'd love to see Monk on Spark and Gaga on Charge, but
Gaga on Charge could be good. I mean, you are right about that. Charge do need a main
like him and Piggy.
Solid. Piggy would be a great tank line. Absolutely. Yeah. Like Gaga, despite not looking as good last year, I still think he has it in him to be a really good tank player. I just think Hunters were in such a bad situation last year. I think, it would be better for him. As much as I'd hate to see him leave the Hunters, I think it would be better for him in the long term to go to the Charge. You know what I'm saying? Because, he could absolutely thrive there in Overwatch, too. Because his Winston, his ball, are still, very competent. And I could see him picking up the Doomfist very good as well. You know what I'm saying? He has potential. He's a very, very good tank when it comes to dive composition.
Well, I want to note, that next year, even the worst teams are gonna have really good players. The league is getting to a point where every team is really stacked, or most
absolutely.
Of them. And if
this
you
is why it was so
start,
hard to make a tier list.
Yeah,
this
if
is why
you
it was so
start
hard to
with
make a tier list.
Sea Wave and Night God as your DPS, that's great. Those were great players in contenders. Sea Wave has been a big name in contenders for a pretty long time.
Yeah.
And so even if they go budget, which might happen, right? And they have announced that they will probably go budget because their parent company and everything. But that doesn't mean they're gonna be. I think it's unlikely to see them turn into something like 2021 Valiant kind of. That's highly unlikely. I don't think that's likely at all.
I want to add on to your point about the league being so stacked. It's come to a point where it's just so hard to make. Remember the other day when we were making tier lists? The reason I had so many C tier players is because league average at this point has become top of the market from season 1. The players that we consider to be the best in season 1 are league average nowadays. There's just so many good players now, and a part of me thinks remember this. Remember me saying this. I feel Hunters, a pretty good chance they just pick up the entire flagship Recreators roster. Because if they get that, think about that team. You have Night God and Sea Wave, arguably the 2 best Chinese DPS in contenders. You have X-Ray, who, in my opinion, is still very underrated. He's a very, very good main tank, in my opinion. He gets a lot of kills. He's always lighting up the kill feed. He's very aggressive. I really like his play style. Then you have Century, Recall, and Keo as your backline, which could do some damage. So I feel even if Hunters have to go budget, they could still pick up a very good Chinese team.
Can they
than the Dragons?
Who can they pick up from HLT? Who can they pick up from HLT Is there someone left?
You get Liga.
Oh,
If you get Liga,
I feel like Liga's gonna go to like Charge or Spark. I think.
I think
He's too
Charger pretty
talented.
set on Piggy. I think they're
Honestly,
pretty set on Piggy. So.
Mike Haley's
Liga's probably the next
You're
best
right.
option after Bernard.
No, yeah, October
Right.
3rd or October 2nd, both of those guys could. Adding on to Maddie's point, either of those guys could go to Hunters.
Shout out to Mike Haley, but Haley's kind of been tearing it up in contenders too. I mean,
He really has. Like, I feel like he can make a comeback after the abysmal performance we saw from him on the Charge in 2021.
okay,
I would
so
pick Dia
so-
as well. Don't forget about Dia, guys. I feel like there's a chance that Dragons might go for a budget like Chinese Korean roster. Dia could go there or to Hunters. I just think if Dia can learn the Sojourn, he could be really good. Yeah, moving on.
I'm
What's our
gonna
next team?
I want to make sure. Okay, so I want to ask this to Cormac and Matt. Do you guys think there's a possibility they retain players like Nisha or Jinmu, or do you think like Jinmu's going to retire, Nisha's going to go to another team? You know,
I think
what are you guys'
Nisha's gonna
thoughts?
find. I think Nisha's gonna find a team. Jinmu, probably best he retires. He's not that good.
Jinmu,
I could see Nisha going to Shanghai or like another Chinese team or something. Or like a bench on the Spark. Maybe.
yeah, I could see that. But I do think they were probably one of the worst aspects of the chart of the Hunters last year, and so they could probably retain him. I doubt there's going to be much market demand.
No. Yeah, I feel like I think Nisha still has potential. I feel like there's a good chance that Jinmu retires. Like at this point in time, he's like the only pure projectile DPS, like one of the only ones left around. I just feel like he hasn't really adapted to new metas all that well. And realistically, the only reason he was still like relevant in 2021 to begin with was because the meta favored just like that style, the far the Sombra. And I think his Genji was still very, very good this year. It's just like there's also better Genjis.
I always thought he was like a Genji Pharah 2 trick, but I was very impressed by the way he was able to kind of pick up the Tracer and Echo. I mean, I don't think they were especially good, but like I was very surprised.
2021 Sombra was good. He just didn't really play it that well this year. His Sombra was still.
I mean, Sombra
but
has
I
a different
think-
play style. But okay, we should move on.
We gotta move
like
on.
half an hour into the podcast, and we have 17 more teams.
Oh my god.
Okay, so Dallas Fuel, they've dropped Fielder, Shio, going to the Rain, Fearless, going to the Outlaws, Doha Guerrillo, Teamless. They seem to have announced their starting five of Edison, Sparkle, Hanbin, MCD, and Bliss. We're not totally sure about Edison. It's kind of weird that he was not at the show match and that he didn't get invited, apparently. But they have not announced anything, so we're just going to go ahead and assume he's still with the team. I think this is still a solid lineup. I mean, MCD, though, he's like 3 fucking tiers below Fielder. Like, maybe Rush can bring out his potential, but I thought he was fucking awful on Boston. Like, he would, like, bottom 5, in my opinion. I'm not high on him. But, like, Bliss, I think, is a phenomenal main support talent. Hanbin, obviously, arguably best tank in the game. I mean, I think it's Smurf, but, like, on Hanbin's heroes, I think he's the best. Like, at the Zarya and Junker Queen and whatnot. Sparkle and Edison, very solid DPS duo. Obviously, I don't think it's standing up to, Lipstalker or Heesang proper or Pelican Happy even. But I think they're pretty solid.
Can I make a comparison for this team? Like, I want to say something about who this team reminds me of.
Go ahead.
This team, I kind of hate to say it, but I think this team, I feel like they remind me a lot of last year's NYXL because they feel very, very inflexible. I feel like in any meta where it's just like one player can't play what they like to play, it's just going to fall over for this team. I mean, they do still have their amazing coaching staff. It looks like they're keeping under Rush, but unless they can turn everyone into like a hyperflex, I'm a little uncertain about this team. I
will say, I think Hanbin's kind of underrated on the hyperflex. I mean, obviously, I don't think his main tanks are anything special, but his like Wrecking Ball and Winston are solid. Like, they're not fearless tier, obviously, but like
they're all right. Yeah,
they were all right. My prediction for this team, I think they're probably out of the top 5. I think they're probably like Lads tier. I mean, it depends how much faith you have in MCD to pick it up under Rush, but I think that this team is probably fighting for that last playoff spot. They'll probably be in plans, but I think they still look solid. Cormac, Medi, next. Do you guys have any thoughts?
Yeah. Well, I think you said, like, I'm not that worried about Hanbin. I'm more worried about the others, I think. Well, also not Blitz. I think Blitz is fine on everything, probably. Hanbin and Blitz are probably good on everything. MCD, he has a lot to prove for me, of course. What does, like, how are they going to play double hit scan in this? Do they still have Gureo?
Gureo got dropped.
I don't think they need double hit scan. I feel like if they ever go to like Circuit Royale, they can just have Sparkle on Genji or something, because Genji can just dodge the Widow.
I think Sparkle can probably pick up this Sojourn, but it's just like...
No.
He's never had him.
It was pretty clear. And it was pretty clear in 2021, I think, that even if he had to do it, he still couldn't do it. Like, he was put on a lot. Like, they tried it last year, didn't they? They tried it, and it didn't work. It was not serviceable.
I don't even think they attempted to put him on Sojourn last year.
I think his Soldier was alright.
Oh, his Soldier was alright, yeah.
Alright.
No. I'm not last year. I mean, 2021. Yeah.
I got stuff to do. We got to speed this up, guys. So yeah, this game, like, probably like anywhere from 12th through 8th place in the standings sounds about right. Let's keep going.
It's a nerf for sure. It's a nerf.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But these guys were a championship roster. I mean, okay. Cormac, Maddie, do you guys...
Final thoughts?
Where do you guys see this team finishing? Do you guys think that they're going to be a playoff team, or getting through play-ins, or what's going on?
I think they can make it into play-ins. And, well, when you the only bit that's really, like, bad is, like, MCD. But they could bring him up a bit. And that's all I really have to say.
Yeah.
Addy, anything?
Maddie, what do you think?
I think that maybe they're going to be like 2021 Eternal.
Okay, that's trolling. All right, that's trolling. Let's move on.
Tech.
2021 Eternal. Never mind. Yeah, I see that happening.
I think it'll be that bad, but yeah.
No, they're going to be better.
2021 Eternal wasn't bad.
They were Rush. They have the best. They have the best fucking coach. They have literally a tank that's the best on like half of all fucking tank heroes. They have Bliss, who's the best main support coming in. And
okay, I think we got to move on.
No, they have a pretty solid roster. Cormac, do you have anything else to say?
No, not really.
All right, let's keep going. What's our next team?
Next team is the Florida Mayhem. So they dropped Hydron. Hydron going over to Toronto. Xe retired. Animo, no news. Samarjed is rumored to be going to Toronto. However, we haven't really heard anything.
Spitfire as well.
Who?
Majed. He was rumored to be going to the Spitfire, wasn't he?
I think that was an old rumor, but now I think Sky Ripa is the rumor for Spitfire.
Oh no!
But so they re-signed.
Majed is better than that. That's aside from the point, but I really hope they don't get Sky Ripa.
But Toronto they're actually pretty big spenders. But so they re-signed Checkmate, Someone, and RuPaul. They managed to grab Merritt from the Houston Outlaws, and Goonba and McGravy are still their coaches. So So vibe check. How does Merritt
This
compare to
team's going to be
Hydron?
really good.
Is
I
Merritt?
think Merritt's an upgrade. It's a slight upgrade. I think this team could really be pushing for some stuff in the right meta. I think someone has you covered on everything. But in the right meta for this DPS line, and depending on who they pick up for their other support / multiple supports maybe, I think this team could be really good. Because I think their coaches I'm pretty confident about this coaching staff. Goomba, he knows a lot about the game. He's a very smart guy. I really respect him. And same with McGravy. McGravy is a very good analyst. I've watched some of his VOD reviews on YouTube and Twitch. He's very smart about the game as well. So they have smart coaches, pretty talented players. I just think it's all about the support line. I feel like the support line is going to make or break this team.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think, yeah, I would definitely say Merritt is an upgrade over Hydron. I don't think they're that far off. But I think this roster is actually looking pretty scary. I think RuPaul kind of stands out, though. I wasn't super impressed with him. I thought he was all right. But compared to like Checkmate and someone. Next, do you have something to say?
Yeah. I think someone is still, of course, one of the best tanks in the entire league. He was a flex tank before Smurf knew what that was, bro. He is. I mean, we talked about him, right? We talked about someone.
Yeah.
And he just... I mean, his Zarya stats were, like, better than Hanbin.
They're actually insane.
Yeah.
No, his Zarya is crazy.
His Winston stats were also, like, top tier. He played basically everything, and it was really good.
I think the team is going to be up
I think it was clear that he was the best player on the team at many, many occasions last year. And
for most of the year he was.
Yeah, you got to remember Checkmate. He went, if you look at stats alone, he was literally up there just below Zest and actually above Alpha. Of course, Alpha had a little bit of a drop. Alpha had a little bit of a drop, of course, but still. The fact that he was just below Zest and over Alpha is still a massive accountment. Checkmate is not someone to sleep on.
Be really good. I want to talk about this DPS line a little bit. I think people kind of sleep on Merritt off of the Sojourn. Like, his Soldier was dead ass, like, top 3. Like, is that a hot take to say that he was, like, a top 3 soldier in the Soldier meta?
I thought it was solid. I wouldn't say he's... I don't know if he was top 3, but I thought he was really good.
Really good.
Yeah.
And I think Checkmate is also... I think it's only up for him. I feel like this team should be pushing for upper half. I expect a very similar season to their 2020 campaign. I feel like they're going to be, like, right below the top 5. But I still expect, like, a very solid year from them. Anything else to say from anyone?
Cormac, how do you feel that this team compares to the Dallas Fuel? Because what Eli's saying is like my exact thoughts on the Fuel. How do you think these guys compare? Obviously, we don't know Florida's full support line, but what are your thoughts?
I think they could be a bit worse than the Fuel. I think the touchdown with someone. It might not bring that much to the team, but he could bring the team's moods up since he's a very hyper player. And
what did you say about someone?
Bro,
someone is so flexible. Have you been watching the league this year?
What?
Someone.
I said he could bring the team's mood up.
Yeah, but he's also like the hyper flex.
He's a very hyper player.
Oh. I think I just misheard you. Any final thoughts, Maddie, before we move on? Because we have to keep this going.
I think they could snipe Rain for their main support. Because isn't Rain a lefty?
I think Rain could be a good option, yeah. Former Valiant.
That would be crazy.
That would be good. That would be pretty good.
Like,
I mean, they have the 2020 Valiant coaching stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it would be like a reunion. Goomba was there wasn't he? Was he? I'm not sure.
I think he was head coach, yeah.
Yeah. No, wait, it was packing, but it doesn't matter. All right, what's next? Hangzhou Spark. This is an exciting one.
Guangzhou Charge.
Hangzhou, well,
Wait,
Charge,
where's Guangzhou?
they haven't really had any news. I mean, they dropped Prida and Kwang retired. Obviously, two very good
going to be
players.
like upper half, but I don't think we need to talk about them much. Let's talk about the Spark.
I'm a Spark simp. I'm hyped as fuck for this team, dude.
I'm so excited. I think
Dude.
this team.
Weave Shy is such a monster duo. Like, and the Leave
then what if they
forcing
get, like,
themselves
Night
on Desertion. Like, it's gonna be unbelievable. Then you still have Doucheway and Super Rich, and even like Pineapple. Like, dude.
You could get like Liga or something. Yeah, no, this team's going to be scary. Although, here's my one concern about the Hangzhou Spark.
Okay.
Is the one area that Chinese talent has always been very lacking in is flex DPS. Like, if you think about the Chinese scene as a whole, I'd say there's the least number of Chinese flex DPS stars. Like Night God, Jinmu, maybe Kaneki, but like even him, he's not good. No, Leave is more of a hit scan. I think of him more as a hit scan, in my opinion. Like, I don't really put him in that category because, like,
I think like his best heroes are like the Tracer and like Echo, which are like flex DPS heroes.
But he also really shined on like the Ash and the like the Cassidy and stuff. He could be.
I think he's just like a hyper flex, like kind of like Stalker probably.
Yeah. I just don't really see where Pineapple's going to fit into this team. I kind of hope they drop him because I don't think he's going to get any playtime. I'd rather see them have a backup flex DPS like Night God or Jinmu rather than another hit scan. And, like, that's my one concern with this team. Because if we enter, I mean, what happens if we enter some sort of like Tracer Genji meta? Like, I don't trust Shy on Tracer. That doesn't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, totally. I get that.
But my concerns with this team are very small. I think they're going to be the best team in APAC. I think they could be a top 5 team. It's just like, how do they stack up to the NA teams?
Cormac, what did you say?
Philly could also be good. They could give them a challenge, but other than that, they're definitely got to be the best team.
Yeah, Spark are just absolutely.
Next, Maddie, do you guys have anything to say?
Nope.
I think a lot of people say that the league is a lot more competitive, but I think the East could be a bit dominated by Philly and Spark.
Probably. East, and Charge could be up there.
And East is just like 4 or 5 budget teams versus Spark and Philly.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, not everything is confirmed, right? What is confirmed? Yeah, this is...
For all we know, Dragons could be in for something special, but unlikely.
They're broke as fuck. They can't even afford a social media manager.
I mean, that is true. All right.
Okay, next,
what's our next team?
Right, let next speak.
Oh, well.
No, of course. I would say, of course, the DPS is amazing. I would say it's just the Chinese version of like Proper and Lip. It's absolutely incredible. You have a 2021 MVP, and you have Shy, who's top 2 hit scan at least. And we've seen him on Echo, we've seen him on Tracer, we've seen him on Hanzo. His Hanzo at one point in 2021 was
insane.
I would say second only to Leave. I mean, other than that,
right
only Bertrand had anything to say about it.
In the right now, this team's going to be so good.
You suspect that it's Gushway League, probably?
Yeah, probably.
I would hope so. Depends if Ligue wants to come back to this team after being on the bench for 2 years.
Well, Ligue is absolutely phenomenal. He's dominating. Insane. He is walking through contenders like it's cake. I would say Gaga is literally better than Gushway in every single hero except Winston. But if you want a Winston one trick, then why not? There's no better Chinese Winston one trick than Gushway, in my opinion.
I don't really think Gaga's going to provide much. So
what's going to be the backline? So the backline was you have.
Oh, they still have Super
Monk.
Rich.
You had Monk, Faraway, and Yveltal.
I think
Faraway
and Yveltal never posted an NFT.
Yeah, I think they're staying with the charge.
Oh.
If that's the case, though, Monk Nisha could do
All
work.
right.
I think Monk Nisha is good enough. I think that's going to get
I
you
think
I don't-
Super Rich is better than Nisha. I think if
Oh, wait, they have
Spark had to
Super
choose
Rich. What
between
am I
Super Rich
saying?
and Nisha, they should
Oh,
go
I forgot
for it.
about Super Rich. I forgot
Well, he's
about
on the
Super
team.
Yeah, but
No.
Yveltal
Monk
is
Super Rich.
definitely better. Yveltal's better than Super Rich. You can.
100%. You've also
100%,
been
yeah. But Super Rich is going to... Okay, do you still think Langsa is the best Chinese main support? Red God? Take
Langsa.
that back. Take that back.
No, Yveltal's way fucking. But I mean, I still like Langsa. I think he's
I do
really
too.
talented. But like,
You could go to, like, Dragons or something. But yeah, no.
Yveltal was so fucking
Super
good
Rich
this
and
year.
Monk. Super Rich and Monk is the way to go. It's gonna go crazy.
Hard agree.
And there's other Chinese flex supports you can go for if like Farway is still on the charge and you need a
there's
third.
still
Like
Molly.
you can go for like recall. Yeah, Molly.
I
You
think
can go
he's
for like
really-
recall, Tio, whoever was
Yeah.
it for the same team as I don't even know, but there's
It's
they have
Cold
other
J.
options.
Cold
J.
OJ transitioned, didn't he? To main support.
Yeah,
It's pretty
it
good.
doesn't matter. I think we got.
He could be hyper. Okay, moving on. We have the next team, Houston Outlaws. These guys
are world beaters.
Okay, they dropped everybody. Merritt is over to the Mayhem. Blastro's on the Glads. They re-signed Pelican. They signed fucking Fearless, SHU, and Happy. And there's rumors that Skewed is going to be on this team too. Their coaching staff, bit questionable. Neko is allegedly the head coach. I'm not a fan of that. I think Drunk Monk is an incredible coach. Drunk Monk's allegedly the like director of competition, which is like the head coach or something. But like I don't. It's confusing. I really hope he's part of the coaching staff. There's a announcement about Jake supposedly in like an hour, so we'll see what happens with him.
Ooh.
But
Is he going to be a player again? Is he going to be their main support?
that would be incredible. No, I
Jake,
think we're getting this.
Lucio.
I think we're getting this Lucio.
Lucio.
I think we're getting this.
Lucio.
They have
What do you
Pelican
guys
still,
think?
right?
I think this guy is. I think as long as Neko doesn't just hard throw, I think he should be. These guys should be like a top 3 team up there with like Shock and Rain, you know.
For sure.
Along with rumors that they're getting like. I think the other rumors are Skewed and Spectra to this team.
That's
Ooh.
going to be nuts.
I think that's pretty spicy.
But they still have Pelican, right? Am I just losing something?
No,
Yeah, they re-signed Pelican.
Yeah, they have Pelican.
He's more just going to be a
What
backup.
do you, Matt? Do you have any thoughts?
Well, I kind of have hopes for Neko because former players being coaches, not head coaches, big coaches like Toby and Rascal, they did well in their first time. So I have hopes
He's
for
going to be
Neko.
the head coach, it looks like, though.
Yeah, head coach. I think he can do good though. I think he can do good.
Okay.
Okay, but I think it's pretty clear that Fearless needs a second tank, though. Fearless needs a off-tank player
Definitely.
next to him. And for like other than that, I think Pelican and Happy are really flexible. They don't need something else. They can get someone else. That's definitely. I mean, double flex is not that common, but I mean, maybe you can prepare for it. And I think, of course, the support line SHU is arguably at least the best playmaking flex and flex support, and definitely for most people, or for many people, the best flex support in the game. What's their announced main? Do they have an announced main support? What's their announced main support?
They didn't announce main support, but rumors are Skewed is going to this roster. We don't know if he's going to be just like a hyperflex like last row or what. But
So the pieces they have is definitely good, but they need a second tank, in my opinion.
I think more so they need a main support. I think they need a main support more than a second tank, in my opinion. If you have skewed on
Honestly-
Lucio, it's over. Like,
Oh yeah, of
you
course they
need a
support.
Lucio player. In Overwatch 2, you need one. With a capital N, you need one.
okay, but
Like,
to be
I'm fine with
fair,
Fearless being the solo tank.
to be
I'm
fair,
confident he could pick up some stuff, but like, You Lucio, I don't have any confidence in.
To be fair, people were saying the same shit about like Violet and Lastro last year, and they turned out pretty well.
True.
But
Lastro did not turn out pretty well.
Lastro was alright.
No, I
He
think he was
wasn't-
pretty good on Lucio.
Yeah, but all right is not going to cut it. If
He
the
got
rest
the
of the
job
team
done.
is
I mean, that's why they dropped him, right? Like,
yeah, if the rest of the team is SHU, Pelican, that's not. Then it's all right. Is not enough, right?
yeah.
I just
I
want
think
to
we
see.
should snipe
Or,
Rain.
like, what'd you say, Maddie?
I think they should, like what I said with the Mayhem, they should snipe Rain.
Houston should sniper?
No,
I think
like,
Houston should go for Chorong, personally.
oh,
I mean, I think he's
Chorong
the
is
best.
better.
He's the
Chorong
best
is
MS on the market.
Aaron would be the best option, probably.
Yeah, I forgot about Chorong.
Yeah.
All right, I think we got to move to the next team now. Any wrapping thoughts from Cormac before we move on?
Yeah.
They have the potential to be better than the Rain, I guess. Not Shock, maybe the Shock, but I think even though it's just a show match, the Shock look very good. But they could, maybe.
Honestly, okay, I want to say one more thing before we move on. I think these guys have the highest range of how well they can do. Like, I could see them being like the best any team, or I could see them like barely
For
making
sure.
plans depending on who they pick up. Like, I think these guys are looking very inflexible right now. I think they need a second tank, and if Skewed is their only flex support, that's definitely worrying. Neko, I don't rate as nearly as highly. I think they need Junkbunk. Like, Junkbunk is an incredible coach, and I think they need him if they want to find any measure of success, in my opinion. But I think these guys have a ton of just pure talent. Like, it's hard to deny that. I need to see how the team get brought together before I can say
You
they're
could
better
see-
than, like, Rain
Wait.
or...
I cannot see them beat Rain. I don't know.
It
Maybe
depends
I'm
who
wrong.
they pick up. I think if they can snipe, like... I don't know, like...
Hold up. Lip,
Tui and like Chorong.
yeah, but Lip is gonna roll
Yeah.
whoever he faces. Fielder is literally
That's
the only person SHU is not gonna roll. So it's like SHU is and Fielder are pretty evenly matched. And then Lip is just winning. Stalker is like Pelican but more flexible.
I think we got to move,
Well,
guys.
you have
I think
Chio is just better than whoever they pick up unless it's Chorong.
it's very meta dependent.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think coaching div could play a factor too. Like if Junkbunk is still a big part of this coaching staff, even over Neko, like what the GM was saying, I could see it happening, but obviously it depends on their other pickups and But moving on, we have the London Spitfire. They dropped Shax, Poco, and Khan. Their current roster is Landon, Admiral, Hottie, Backbone. Sparker's a free agent right now, but they haven't announced his departure, so I'm assuming he's staying. Have the same coaching staff. Okay, so I was going to say something. I am worried about this roster because they remind me of 2020 Paris Eternal. Okay, here's why. I think, obviously, to a much lesser extent, but I don't like the strategy that they're
2020
doing.
or 2022?
Or 2021 Paris going into 2022. Because what Paris did, they had a pretty solid team, and they thought that if they just had the same core and just improved that core, they could beat a lot of other teams. But what happened was every other team improved themselves with like rookie talent. The same thing that's going on with APAC talent coming into NA like right now. So I think that having the same core and not making use of any of those upgrades is going to really bite these guys in the ass. So I've always been a London doubter, but I cannot see them being better than Rain, Uprising, Outlaws, Shock, but probably not even Defiant or Dallas either. I would take so many other guys that are making use of this APAC talent over these guys And I think these guys are just like a play-ins team, maybe not even making playoffs this year.
You
what
might
do you
be
guys
being a little harsh. Because you got to remember, this team did very well in a Kiriko-Lucio meta. I feel like there's still a good chance that Kiriko-Lucio is meta by the time the season starts. And if that's the case, I still think Spitfire upper half in that department. Landon's Kiriko was proven to be one of the better ones in the playoffs, going up against so many good talents.
Yeah, but I mean, you look at the teams that they went up against, it's like, okay, Boston has Lee Jae-gon, Izayaki now. Rain have fucking Fielder Chio. Outlaws, I mean, well, we can't really say the same thing about Outlaws, but Shock have fucking Vindame and Finn. Like, it's like, I just feel like they're going to get passed up by a lot of other teams. I'm going to let...
No, I'm not saying... I feel like they're going to look worse just because other teams are getting better. But I still think they're going to be like an upper half team. Like, still decent. All things considered.
I see them being lower mid. Like, barely making plans. But I want to let Nex and Cormac talk about this because they're the EU towards.
I think he's talked about a lot of it, but I kind of agree with Pride God. I don't think they'll be that good.
No, I don't like that either.
Yeah, I just...
So
I mean, Christopher's still an incredible coach, but, like, I don't know.
I don't think the drop is as bad as, let's say, 2021 to 2022 Dragons, because I think from 2021 to 2022 is the biggest new talent coming in, like, boost ever. Like, there's never been such an like influx of great, like, absolutely amazing new rookies as like last season. It's not even like next year is gonna like rival that or even come close to it. So I don't think the difference is gonna be that astonishing. But I think, of course, if you look at like Tank, there are many people I would pick over Hardy, like someone Smurf, Max, Junbin, Reiner, Hawk, Kaluj, Hanbin, probably even Dante is a pretty good argument. I would say, Ligue, like Arpen, you can even argue. Like, there are many things I would pick over him. And then Sparker, yes, he's a great player for like compared to the people around him. But if you're like, he does not compare to someone like Lip or Shy. He does not have the raw talent of MM3. He does not have the tracer or flexibility of Decay. He did not do nearly as well as like Hydron or Merit. Like, you can say he was great compared to the people around him, but he's still not amazing. And then, of course, in the flex support, like SHU, Fielder, Vigilante, Finn, Izayaki, Ultraviolet probably, Twilight, Crimzo. There are a lot of people I'd pick over Landon. Like Monk, Farway. There are a lot of them. Probably even CJ from NA.
Okay. Calm down a little bit. Landon still had a pretty good Kiriko. Like, I'm not saying this team is going to be super good, but I think you are underrating Landon a little bit considering how viable Kiriko has been.
And it's hard to make those kind of predictions based off like future metas, because like knowing Blizzard, they might just like nerf Kiriko into the ground, and then like she'll never be played again. And, like,
true.
We really don't know.
Like Admiral, are you really gonna pick Admiral over like the top like Churung, Chio, Vindame, Lee Jae-gon, like Twilight, Bliss, Yveltal? He's gonna get rolled. He's gonna get absolutely rolled. Like, of course, their strength last year wasn't their individual players. It was probably they played a niche, not people put enough time preparing in my opinion. But if they're going to play against NA coaches who know the Rhine better than the APAC coaches probably, and who now have upgraded their talent to the Apex talents. Like, I don't know if I see it work. I don't know if and Ryan is still not helped. He's still not buffed or anything. Like,
Ryan is one of the worst tanks in
he's horrible.
Play.
Like, you can up his numbers, but just the sheer, like, his role in the game is not needed.
Like, yeah, Arisa just does it better.
What's
Daria as well.
Like, dive is just so it has such a higher ceiling. It's so much higher. And you can play dive in multiple different ways. You can play it like kind of rushy. You can play it like just full dive. You can do so much with it, and you can play it on almost every map. But Ryan is like, you can play it on a few maps where it's gonna be valuable. The others it's just a throw, and you're gonna have to spend literally months like making specific plans for each map to how to like handle that shit.
That's true.
Time you could have spent like coaching your players and just you have to make up for like not playing the meta, which is gonna take so much time and energy.
I think we gotta keep moving, but I do see your point next. I feel like this team is gonna take a hit, not because they got worse, but because other teams got better. Do we have any closing thoughts? Cormac, Maddie,
Maddie, do you have any thoughts?
I think they are going to be bad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say playing team probably get eliminated from plans. No cap. Moving on, you have the Los Angeles Gladiators. They lost Reiner, Happy, seemingly Space, because they declined his contract. They haven't officially announced anything. SHU. Feud is technically still with the team, but there are rumors of him going to Outlaws, and he is a free agent, so we'll see about that. They re-signed Kevster and Funny Astro. They signed Kai and Lastro, the Funny Lastro support duo. And then they still have Space, Hunter, and Smash as their coaching staff. But it's like, so... Just what do you guys think? I can't help but see this as like a massive downgrade in basically every role.
It really is. But there is a little bit of upside. We get a former Valiant reunion, Lastro, Kai, Hunter. That's the only thing I see. We still do have talent on this roster. Like, I still think they're going to be upper half, maybe not top 5, but like 10th through 7th or 6th place in the standings in the right meta. Like, you still have Funny Astro, who I think has room to grow, and I think he will grow. And then you still have Kevster, who is just a standout on this team. Kevster and Kai, in my opinion, at their peak, could be a really, really scary DPS line. Like, I think Kai, despite getting outclassed a little last year, if they nerf Sojourn into the ground, I think there's a good chance that he just like becomes that guy and just starts popping off again. Like,
Kai is not flexible though. That's one of their weaknesses. That's going to be one of their weaknesses. Kai is known to be not flexible.
Yeah, but Kev can just flex onto everything. So I feel like they could get a third DPS.
That's true, but Kev can't play 2 roles. There's only one Kevster. You can't have
2 computers.
2 controllers. Yeah, that's the only way to solve that. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Of course, the losing of SHU is just massive. That's
definitely the worst. Lastro, I don't even...
Lastro can't even compare. Like, honestly.
I mean...
Well, I think Lastro is there to fill in for Scoot, right? Like, it's a good player with a good break. And that's kind of what Lastro did. Like,
yeah, Lastro was like the Brig Zen guy. The Brig Zen guy. So he is filling in for Scoot.
I wasn't a fan of his Lucio, but his break was really good.
It was.
Like, Lester's break was really good.
No, it was like number 1 statistically, right?
Yeah, no, Lastro is maybe a slight downgrade to Skewed, but he still is that Brig Zen guy who's going to be your third support. But you can't have a backline of just these two. You're going to need a pure flex support. And this might sound a little far-fetched, but I think a good option could be Babel. What do we think?
Yeah, he's not bad. I mean, he's no SHU, but
Could be good.
Yeah. Is Twilight still available?
there were rumors of him being in
Yeah.
talks with the Fusion, but he's still available. Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
Twilight would be a great option. That's the number one thing you're missing with this
And
team.
who?
You
Doesn't
can't
matter.
convince me Violet's leaving. I will not accept it.
What about?
Oh, wait. Nah, Violet kind of fills in that
It's
last
simple.
row role.
It's Simple
Like, I
side.
don't
I
think you
think
should have
Simple
both.
was better. Simple was better than Babel, I think.
Okay.
Simple's really
that's
good.
fair.
Okay, so I would say these guys similar position to Dallas. I
For
think
sure. They still have a
fighting
really
for
good
that,
coaching staff.
fighting for that sixth spot, maybe making it in through like play-ins. I think they're like
Yeah.
mid to like upper mid tier team this year, but I don't think they're.
You
I don't think they're
keep
that
saying
competitive.
play-ins.
Top teams.
You keep saying play-ins, but the question is, are you thinking about the format of this year or maybe like a different format where only the top 4 teams get in? Because if
I was talking about the
We're talking
format
about
this year, like 6
then
automatically
I don't
get
think
in,
they'll get
and
into
then
play-ins. I think they
Yeah.
could make it to 6th. I think they could be 6th in the standings. Because this team still has talent. Like,
I think they
a
have
lot of these
talent. But
guys
like
are really good.
Is CJ signed?
Rain and Houston and Shock and
Yeah,
even
I
like
get it.
Austin and
No, I know what
even
you're saying.
Toronto, dude. Like they're fucking upgrading like crazy.
Do
They
we
gotta
have
definitely need to
a,
say that they're up top
We gotta keep
5.
things moving soon.
yeah, do we have a place for CJ from NA?
No, not yet. He could be good.
Not yet.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, he
He's
kind of.
also
he
great.
needs flex support, right?
Yeah, but he was really good on a lot of heroes, I'd say.
Doesn't he kind of fell in Defiant role though? I thought he was a Lucio guy.
Well, he could play everything because he's just a good player, but he was a flex,
Okay.
I think.
Okay, I'm going to pass this on to Cormac and Maddie. Do you guys have any thoughts on this new EU super team?
I think when you said we were in they're kind of like the fuel, and they definitely could be better than the fuel. I think that's underrating them a bit, and I think a lot of people are underrating them.
What do you think, Maddie?
I don't know. Maybe they'll be like I think they'll be at most, if I'm being generous, the 7th to like 12th.
All right, spicy take. I kind of agree. I mean, Cormac, I think Fuel downgraded a lot, but like, I think they still have some pretty good talent. Like, I think the DPS line here is stronger than the Fuels. I doubt Glads can pick up anyone better than Hanbin. I don't think there's anyone left on the market that can really be that guy.
Yeah.
The
Arpen, maybe.
port line, I might even favor Dallas. I mean,
MCD was good in the
For
Spark.
sure.
MCD
Austin just wasn't that good.
MCD is not great, but I think if Rush has faith in him, I think he
It's like
can do
Edison.
well. And
It's like Edison.
yeah, and I'm high as fuck on Blizz. I really think he could be like a top 3 main support. I'm really
He could
impressed.
be
by him.
really good, yeah.
Yeah,
All right, we gotta keep things moving now. So
yeah. So okay,
Valiant, Paris.
we're not covering
Paris.
Valiant because they don't
We're not
have any
talking
fucking
about
players or
Valiant. They're gonna
staff.
do that again. Yeah.
We have Paris. They dropped Wub and Krawi and signed Empress. I think Empress is a great coach. So here's my question. So obviously none of us here probably think they're going to be able to break into maybe even play-ins or like. But do you guys? Okay, my question here is: do you guys think that they can actually start being more competitive? Because obviously Paris or Vegas, I guess, was in a very rough spot last year. You know, they were changing their entire roster around halfway through the season. You know, they were changing coaches, they were changing organizations. Their head coach couldn't even speak the language, and they fired their translator. Like, they have so many organizational problems. And so now that they're kind of getting their shit together, they have a new offseason. They have all these guys as their favorite head coach. They're probably signing Vulcan and some other dude. Do you guys think that the talent is there and that they just had organizational issues and that they can actually get some wins next year? Or are they still going to be the same Paris Eternal that just fucking suck, basically?
They're going to be pretty bad, but I think they can pick up maybe 2 wins, 3 wins, anywhere from 2 to 5 wins is what I'm expecting. And I think they could develop some of these pieces because they do have talent on this roster. It is there. It's just about not just falling under the pressure of being such a shitty organization. So I think there's a good chance, but they're going to be they're not going to be anything special. They kept Malthow?
Yeah, they're keeping Malthow. I'm actually hoping they pick up Nero or someone.
Oh no.
Okay, next Cormac, Maddie. You guys have any thoughts?
I'm gonna be honest. The only player I liked was Dove, but that's my.
I agree.
I think Guglielmo and Rack will look better this year. I think the support line will look better just because they can both bounce off of each other very well. But the rest of the team is just no.
I would either replace everyone or I would replace everyone but Dove. But I think Empress is great. The resume is great. I think she has a lot of gold on her resume, I think. But I don't know.
She was the head coach of Odyssey for a while.
Yeah, well, she coached multiple teams, apparently. She would just coach multiple teams at a time. She was that wanted.
I mean, dude, everyone who's been asked about her has said, she's a brilliant mind. She's probably the best coach I've ever worked with. Everyone loves Empress.
Tree gave, almost all his success, he credited Empress for.
Yeah.
Which says a lot.
Tree's good as fuck.
He respects her a lot.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely high on Empress. I think she is a fantastic coach. Congrats on being the first female coach, too. Cormac and Maddie.
Didn't we have Avala? We had Avala on Justice.
First female head coach.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. Okay, Cormac and Maddie, do you guys have any thoughts on this team? Can they be competitive? Or will they just be winless?
Winless.
Winless? Alright.
They can be better than 2021 Valiant, at least.
Okay. Maddie, what do you think?
I think that they're going to be 2021 Boston. Just 13th, 14th, around there.
Damn.
No, 13th, sorry.
Bro's pretty high on them. I like it. Alright. And then, so next up we have the Philadelphia Fusion. So they dropped everybody. They re-signed their coaching staff, Zest and MN3. So we don't really have too much info on the rest of the team. So my question to you guys is, are Zest and MN3 good enough to stand up to some of these other NA DPS lines? Assuming that we're following the international tournament, we got Kai Kebster, Lipstalker,
Yes.
Proper Heesang.
Yes. I think there's a good shot.
Yeah.
I think they're really, really talented. I think there's a good chance they could stand up to some of these guys and be. I think they'll make it competitive. I'm not going to say they're better than any of them, but they'll be pretty competitive with them. This DPS line is crazy.
Yeah, I'm very high on Zest and MN3, personally.
Well, I want to note that we haven't even seen MN3 in a meta that favors any of his heroes. If we get a meta which favors one of his, like an Ashe or a Cassidy, Cassidy's probably not going to work because Cassidy's just underpowered right now. But like an Ashe meta, he is going to be a monster. His hard hit scan, his raw flick scan talent was he was probably the first player in a while. I was like, well, he's going to be a trouble. He can be trouble for even Lip or Shy on the raw flick scan if he reaches his potential. Like, his potential in raw aiming is ridiculous. And I think we've seen the best of Zest. We've seen Zest even like improve compared to his contenders level. But we have seen a nerfed version of MN3, and it was still great, in my opinion. It was still good.
I mean, we've seen MN3 on the Ash in the midseason madness, and he was
but
like...
it wasn't meta. Imagine if Ash is meta.
Version was definitely more meta, but we saw him being able to force it and maybe even be the best APAC team in the midseason madness. Like, they were that good.
Yeah, he took over the game again. He just took control over the entire match. It was against Seoul, right?
That Seoul game was absurd. Like, nah.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. He was quick
Yeah.
scoping people. Like it was Call of Duty, bro.
We got to talk about the rest of the team now. I think we got to talk about their other signings. What are our expectations for if they pick up Mag, Charong, and Twilight?
I would say... What do you think? Conrad, what were we saying?
There's like synergy in the support, and that could be good. Like, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, I think...
like MN3 and Zest returning, that's synergy as well. Mag is probably the worst part then, because he's very inconsistent.
Unfortunately, Mag just hasn't proven anything. Like, he was so good in contenders, but he just hasn't really got that to the
Still a
Overwatch
Mag
League,
leaver. I don't
unfortunately.
give a what anybody says. I think he has the talent.
I think
I
he
love
does have
him
the
to be
potential.
good. He is one of my favorite players
Yeah.
in the league.
He has the
Justice
potential, but until we see it, I'm still
The
not going
talent
to
is there.
be super fond of him. But I do think this Philly team is going to finish upper half. Will they be beating any of the NA top teams? Probably not, but I think they'll be beating
Maybe
most
Boston.
of the it could beat Boston, they could beat Outlaws.
I don't know about Boston. We'll see.
Yeah.
Depends on the
I don't
meta.
think
I would say.
I don't think they're beating Shock or Rain though. No.
Well,
It's not gonna happen.
I'm not worried about their support. Their supports are great. Churung was
Yeah.
the most hyped main support coming into last year, even above Vindem and Shio. And even on a far, far worse team than Vindem and Shio, I would say, he had extremely aggressive moments and he never got punished, which is absolutely great for a main support. That's absolutely what you want to see from a main support. And he is more, I think is he more experienced than Chio and Vindem? I thought he played longer. He is more experienced in the pro scene. Or am I just...
Who?
Churung.
Then Vindam and Chio Churong? No, they all joined this year, so.
No, not in the league. I mean, in the pro scene in general. Just also contenders. He feels
I think
more
Churong
of
might have.
I don't know.
Let me look him up on Wikipedia real quick.
I feel like there's been talk about Churung for longer. Anyhow, I just mean he still has the potential to be easily top 3 in the main support category. Like I said, he was the most hyped over Chio and Vindame for a reason. We've seen him mechanically. He's very strong, and
Sure.
there are a lot of
Absolutely.
pros who would trust him to do decent on I believe it was DPS. They trust him on his mechanics are apparently legendary for a.
Also, no, I'd like to debunk your rumor. Chio has been around the scene for the longest,
All right,
but
okay.
but Churong has been around a little bit longer than Vindame. But
Yeah, okay. That was probably what I was thinking about then. But yeah, so that's really promising. And then, of course, Twilight is, you can argue he's still just
Twilight
below the
was
top
great.
5.
His Brig and
I would
Ana
say-
were still very competent.
Yeah. So I would say you could just easily pick him over a lot of players. Not SHU and Fielder. I would also say not Finn. Maybe not
The backline,
Izayaki.
can I talk about the backline for a second? I think the backline was a huge, huge part of why they were so good in the Jotes meta. A lot of credit is given
Yes.
to guy to Heesang. Specifically him, he gets a lot of the credit for his very, very good Ash play. But Twilight and Chorong, when they get to play their characters together, they're really, really strong. And I feel like in better hands, in a better team than the middest team to have ever existed, they could be something really, really dangerous. Even for some of these NA teams, I think peak Twilight and peak Chorong could match some of these guys. Like actually, they could be world beaters. You
gotta remember they like Twilight is the person who kept Bumper alive. Do you know how impressive that is?
Yes,
that's really goddamn impressive. He kept like a hard feeder, just didn't die because of this guy. He is great, and he's also
really
really
good.
Like Hotban Zarya just didn't die at some point. He just felt immortal. You could just throw 5 people at Hotban Zarya, and he just did not die. So
sure. Yeah,
I think Mag is the only worry point. Yeah, Mag is the only worry point, but he has the potential.
They could get someone else. I'm pretty sure they're gonna get someone else. Do we have any closing thoughts, Cormac?
Yeah, Cormac and Maddie, do you guys have any closing thoughts?
We gotta move on. I gotta go somewhere.
6. They're gonna be 6.
Let's go.
Okay.
Let's go.
6. Okay. Final 3 teams. Right. San Francisco Shock. We're gonna say.
Oh my god.
We have. They've dropped.
We're not sure about Violet right now or Junebin.
Violet's very up in the air, but he hasn't.
No, dude.
He hasn't been officially dropped by the Shock.
I'm pretty sure. I hate to be that guy, but it's looking pretty likely because this morning, Shock posted a 2023 roster reveal video, or maybe it was last night. Proper Heesang, Max, Finn Dame, and Finn. No signs of Violet or Junebin being on the team, it looks like.
Okay,
Junebin's gonna get in.
Starting 5. That's just the starting 5.
Yeah, they have to pick up
I'm not
one more
sure.
player. But okay. First of all, they wouldn't just
Yeah.
not release Violet like that. Like, that don't make any sense.
No, they're gonna make a post if it's true. Proper.
They do have to have at least one more player. Well, I mean, I think it's probably likely that Violet's gone, but no one said anything yet, so I just have him in this category. I'm holding out hope.
But let's assume that he is gone. Assuming that he is gone, Shock is still a top 3 team.
100%. They still Proper and Finn. Proper just the best player in the world. Like, he's absurd. Finn's insane.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Heesang.
I have one concern for this team.
Okay.
2 concerns for this team, actually. One, maybe a slight lack of flexibility in some areas. If they don't get tuned in, which they're probably going to, but if they don't, then there are some concerns to be raised there about a Winston meta. Second concern,
honestly, dude, I think Max could do it. I mean, they signed Kaluge.
It's a very small concern.
Kaluge is crazy.
I'm not trying to be down on this team. This is a very small concern.
Kaluge was able to be a pretty decent Winston after only picking him up like a month before the season started.
Yeah, Max
is good at just
and Max is
better than Winston gods.
I'm not too worried about that. Obviously, Junebin's going to be better.
Yeah.
But
my other concern though, I never thought I'd be in a position to say that Finn was the worst player on a team. Like, that's my only. It's another one of my concerns is that he is the worst player in the team, but he's still very good, top 5 flex support for sure.
I wish I'd be concerned that a top 5 flex support is the worst player on your starting roster.
That's my only concern. Is that against some of these other teams, they might, against the Reign, they could get outdueled in the support category.
Yeah, but I would say he was underperforming last year, and his talent,
he was not
his ceiling. I think his ceiling would be top 3.
We've seen Finn go up against SHU and Vigilante and Fielder, and he was not getting dipped. Obviously, I'm not going to say he's better than SHU or those guys, but
no, but
Shock?
I think we are worried. He was throwing ultimates in tournaments, and that was not good. He was
really
actually
under
throwing
pressure. He needs to work, but I think I think if he plays like he did in the regular
Kiriko.
season, he's pushing top 3.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
another thing though. I wasn't too high on Finn's Kiriko. That's like my only other concern is I thought Finn's Kiriko wasn't like all that impressive. It wasn't bad, but I just don't think it was like top 5 or anything.
I thought it was solid, but the striker and proper were definitely the best parts of the
Well,
playoff.
compared to his other heroes, Kiriko wasn't that impressive. But compared to the rest of the league, it's not a weakness, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Down-
Final few teams.
No,
I do
we
want
gotta
to say
respect
about
Junman,
the
though.
shock.
I want to respect Junman, though.
It's not that
What is it,
important, but Proper did like take down all his shock branding on his Twitter account, but it's probably not anything.
Proper, that was a troll. He confirmed it.
Yeah, that was a troll. He admitted it
Oh my
on
God.
Yeah,
Thank God.
yeah, no.
No, but Proper is of course the best player in the world. But I think
Is it-
Max
Yeah,
was rumored to
like
be a
that.
top 5 tank. Max was rumored to be like when coming in would become a top 5 tank almost instantly. And I would say Junbin is even better than that. So
I agree.
I don't believe they would not pick up Junbin. Like Junbin is just
He's insane.
he is absolutely insane. He
I mean,
is
I think part of
absolutely
it-
insane.
He's very good.
Oh, what do you say, Matty?
I said he is very good.
Yeah. I mean, I think part of the reason Junbin isn't on this roster right now is because the fucking
They were
17-year-old
probably-
rule was like announced 2 weeks ago. So there's probably some. They didn't even know they could
Yeah.
sign Junbin until like 2 weeks ago. So
Yeah. No. The
Probably.
teams knew it. Like the teams knew it a little bit earlier, I think. But
yeah,
that's still it's still later. They probably made a lot of like those videos and that kind of stuff. They made them before Junbin was like officially picked up. They're probably still dealing with signings and that kind of stuff. And maybe they're just not allowed to post like he's joining the team before the contract is officially signed. I don't know.
All right.
I mean,
We gotta keep this moving. I gotta go in like
One
soon.
more thing,
okay.
Max might be like the second best like off tank. Donbin.
Yeah, like second
For sure.
Arvin.
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man.
Pronto.
I think these guys are a top 3 team. Hopefully, they can actually fucking win something this year.
I'll
Any,
be the-
any
Finally.
hitscan? Any hitscan concerns?
No.
Not when fucking Proper's on the team, dog.
I mean, Proper is an insane hitscan. But I mean, if Proper has to play like, maybe you would
Tracer
want
or
Proper
Genji.
on Tracer if like the meta shifts and you're like, well, the hard carry role is now Tracer. Then you want Proper on Tracer and you want someone else on hitscan.
I really don't think there's too big a drop off in Tracer
No.
between
yeah,
Heesang
for
and
sure.
Proper. Heesang's like
I
one of like 2 or 3 players I would actually say is like almost as good as Proper on
Well,
Tracer.
then-
then just say
leave,
Genji.
yeah.
Just say Genji. Maybe Genji's hard meta. Genji.
Heesang Genji.
Genji too, dog.
Dude.
Yeah,
wait. Next,
Heesang
next,
is
hold
great,
on.
but
Hold on.
Proper
Hold on.
is Proper.
No, wait. Hold on. Sorry.
yeah,
Dude. Heesang and Proper in a Tracer Genji meta. Whether you have Proper Genji, Heesang Tracer, or the other way around, you're gonna dominate.
Yes,
Whichever
but you
way you have
can't
it around.
deny. Like,
Proper
I'm
and
not
Heesang
denying-
are both top notch on Genji.
I'm not
Proper's on Tracer
denying.
or Proper's on Genji. Doesn't matter. You're gonna be
I'm
so
not
good.
denying.
Yes. There is. But it really isn't that big in the grand scheme of things.
I mean, I think I would
Unless-
like to see them pick up like
Prophet.
like Probe
Prophet
or
or Probe.
Alien or even Fitz. I think all those.
What about Prophet?
I really like Profet, but
We're gonna start calling
Might
him
be on-
Prophet
I think-
just so we don't get
Probe.
Profit, yeah.
I think
Probe.
Alien was better,
We
but
got
probably
some
not
proper
gonna happen.
Profit and Profit
What about Probe? What about
and Probe.
Prophet. Call him Prophet.
Alien
Just so
Probe.
is
Prophet.
better than Probe, but Alien's probably not gonna happen, but Alien is better than
feel like Shock are gonna want not sign like super top tier. Like I think they don't need a hit scan specialist to be top 3. If they do sign one, it'll probably be someone like Probe or Prophet. That's who was sitting on the bench because like
You mean Profet?
90, yeah, probably Profet, but 90% of the time it's going to be proper Heesang. Like these guys might be the best DPS duo in NA.
And Vindame is of course amazing. So
he's incredible.
They announced Vindame, and I was like, okay, he's arguably the most flexible main support in the league. His flex support heroes looked really good for a main support. He is one of the most talented main supports I've ever seen. He just learns heroes so fast. His break was legendary in contenders. His Lucio diffed Lee Jae-gon the first match he ever played Lucio. Like, he is absolutely astonishing. I think it's a great pickup.
No, absolutely. And I'm not even, wait. I want to say one more thing before you hand it over to Maddie or whatever you're about to do. Vindame, if they get rid of Violet, I'm not concerned at all. Vindame, the way he was able to pick up the Zen, and I think he could get even better at it under Krusty. Like Nex was just saying, his Lucio was so good. His Brig was top notch. I mean, his hero pool is kind of identical to Violet's in a lot of ways. The only real concern I have for this team is if we enter some sort of Baptiste meta. But even then, I think either Finn or Vindame will be able to learn the Baptiste if Violet is dropped, like it seems.
They're so talented.
They're so talented. No, yeah, definitely. I don't have many concerns for this team. This team. I don't know if it's a hot take to say that they are my early favorites. Them and the Rain are my early favorites to win 2022. I mean 2023.
Definitely not a hot take. Most people have them in their top 3.
Yeah.
If you don't, you're crazy.
Cormac and Maddie, do you guys have any additional thoughts?
As my little bit some favorite teams. I think they're gonna do good because Titans, they're my favorite team now.
Let's go
Titans.
Lenny time. We'll talk about them later though. Also, okay, before I move on to Toronto, we now have the Vindame support line. All right, that's what I'm calling it.
Vindame. I like that.
That's my name. I came up with that.
No, you did not. Saw it on Reddit somewhere. No, but so I don't have a slide for Seoul and Shanghai, but obviously they still have a lot of really top-notch free agents still in the market. Seoul has Iris, Fit, and Profit still in the market. Shanghai has Who Are You, Fate, Baby. Obviously not that good. But do you guys want to take a second to talk about them, or do you guys just want to move on to Toronto?
Toronto, probably.
All right. So Toronto, they dropped all their coaches and their entire roster. They signed American Tornado, which is Hydron, Speedily, Sam on DPS, tank line of Reiner and Kaluge, support line of Ultraviolet and OG. Surmajed might be joining, might not be, we'll have to see. And they picked up Casores from the San Francisco Shock as their head coach. How am I not supposed to see this as a massive upgrade from last year? Like, these guys are actually kind of stacked. Like, I think they could be pushing top 5.
Okay, so the tank is definitely an upgrade. In depth, in level, it's just better. I would say that their support, I don't know if it's an upgrade, actually. Twilight was really good. I don't know if Ultraviolet is just by definition better. I'm not going to say that. And I'm going to say that Churong is definitely better than OG. But let's see, Speedily, he has a lot to prove, of course. He did not have the opportunity to show everything he had. And I think Hydron's really underrated. He was a top 5 Sojourn, so I don't understand why people also kind of low on him, honestly. And his Widow is great. He can play Tracer. He picked up the carry role now and again.
Yeah.
I would say it's a solid team. I don't see a weakness. They can play everything. I mean, double. If Majetta's picked up, there's no weakness.
Yeah. Eli, what are your thoughts? Never mind then. Cormac and Maddie, you guys have any thoughts on the Defiant?
The American Tornado Corps is a very good idea. And Cass is a really good coach. Coach Casares.
And Casares. And I think all these guys should be bolstered by playing together again. You know.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
You guys can hear me now? Okay. Sorry. I was having some technical difficulties, but I am back. This Defiant team will probably this is the Defiant Tornado. I mean the Toronto Tornado. You might as well not even call them Toronto anymore. Yeah, you might not even call them, you can't even call them Canadian anymore. This is just the American Dream Team. Right? It's like New York Defiant, New York Tornado, or whatever you want to call it. American Tornado Reunion. This will probably also end up being the World Cup roster. And I think I've said this before, but I still think Sir Majed is a little underrated. I think his Ana and his Zen were pretty decent last year, especially his Ana I thought was really good. But this roster should be pushing for top 5. This All-American core, you have some of the best American players and arguably the best American coach in the game. There isn't really much to say about this team. I mean, Reiner and Kaluge are both pushing Rollstar. This team has synergy going for them. They've all played together, so if you're the Toronto Defiant, it is now or never. If they flop again this year, they can just end their whole organization because
there's no saving them.
There can't be any stopping this team. I mean, even players even OG who underperformed a little bit last year. He's now playing with all of his former teammates. This team needs to be good, and they need to be good now because they have the synergy, they have the talent, they just have everything right now. They have all the American talent. There should not be any stopping this team. I mean, Speedily does for sure, but I think he can do it. Guys like Speedily and OG. They didn't really perform very well in Atlanta last year, or not badly, but as well as they should have. They should be able to go up from here. Now that they're playing with former teammates, surrounded by former teammates, they should be able to go sky high from here and reach their full potential. If they don't, I'm going to be very disappointed.
Yeah. Do you guys think saying that these guys are a top 5 team is too high? How do you guys think they compare to Dallas, Glads, and Boston?
Better than all of them except for maybe Boston.
Next and Maddie and Cormac, what do you guys think?
Oh, I didn't think about that one. Let's start with Glads. I mean, UV is definitely better than last show. But they play a different role, in my opinion. But whatever. OG and Astro. I would pick Astro, probably. Then on Kevster, of course, still better than Speedily. I don't care how good Speedily is going to be. It's not going to be Kevster. Let's see, Kai and Hydron. I think Hydron is more flexible than Kai, but Kai on the raw flick scan should either at least stalemate or win that. On the Sojourn though, Hydron definitely better. So, and then on tank, we don't know anything about the Glads tank, so I don't know. And then Fuel Hanbin should win on almost all off tanks. Yeah, Hanbin is actually correct.
Yeah.
So, but if it's main tank, then maybe Reiner's gonna Reiner can outperform Hanbin. And then the other Fuel, Bliss is definitely better than OG. It's pretty clear. MCD and UV, I would pick UV probably. And then Sparkle and Speedily. If Speedily reaches his full potential, I think he can be better than Sparkle. And I think he's going to be more flexible than Sparkle also. So that's good. On Hitscan, Edison is not standing up against Hydron, I think. I think Hydron is just better.
Definitely.
Yeah. That's how I would look at that. I don't know. Were there any other teams you said I would compare them to?
I said Boston.
Boston.
Yeah.
Well, Smurf is going to keep up with, actually just beat Reiner probably. And Smurf on Zarya and that kind of stuff is just going to be fine against Kalush, in my opinion. I think that, let's see, who else did we have on Boston, though? What was the support line of Boston? I already forgot.
Lee Jae-gon, Izayaki.
The Dragon
Oh, yeah.
support
No,
line.
I think Lee Jae-gon definitely still has way more potential than OG, in my opinion. And
I want to say something about Lee
Izayaki-
Jae-gon real quick. Wait, can I say something about Lee Jae-gon?
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
think the whole narrative that he's like a feeder and is just washed. I just think that whole narrative is very overblown and just needs to stop. Lee Jae-gon is still one of the best main supports in the league and still has
He's the
potential
GOAT.
to grow in Overwatch 2. Absolutely. In
Overwatch.
Overwatch 1, he was the GOAT.
Yeah, the GOAT main support for sure.
Yeah, he is over aggressive and feeds from time to time, but that's just what's gonna happen when you're playing like Lee Jae-gon. In exchange for some of the feeds he's had, he's also had some of the most hard carry performances out of a main support, mind you. Main support hard carry performances. So
Yeah,
I don't know why people are so surprised that he has those moments where he feeds because, as an aggressive main support, that's what's going to happen. And me personally, I'd rather have him feed his brains out from every, once in a while than to have a main support, I don't know, unique, just sit back and do absolutely nothing. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Because,
I think
people just need to stop shitting on Lee Jae-gon for throwing once or, twice.
Yeah. He's
and
not even
mechanically, he's still
Insane.
Last year he was set to be in a tier of his own as a main support. So you gotta understand, he was a tier above every single other main support in the league.
In 2021.
And then and I would say in 2021, yes. So I would say Izayaki. I mean, on Brig he was just better than I would say his Brig is just better than UV, right? And then
well, no
Zen is
shit.
better.
UV and Irony had the worst Brigs in the league.
So
Mind you, Paris and Valiant and Titans and NYXL all had better Brig players than those guys.
Yes, so
holy
I would
shit.
say Zen Brig is definitely Izayaki. I don't know. I would still.
It's honest, Greg.
I mean, in experience, Izayaki is still above UV. I think this is pretty good.
Izzy
and then-
better.
I would say that even the hit scan, they have higher. I think they have a higher ceiling than Hydron. The Boston has a higher hit scan ceiling than Hydron.
Burgering could go really
Hydron,
far.
though Hydron is more proven in recent times, for sure. And in the flex, I gotta say, Speedly is gonna take that because he's literally the only flex.
And Sam.
Oh yeah, no, that's two flex players against none. That's
Pretty much.
But
Yeah.
but I mean, the Tracer is gonna get the K is gonna dominate. So
Yeah. All right. It's
Corner,
time
Maddie.
for the final team. Oh, wait. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts?
Top 5.
They're kind of like the 2022 Atlanta. There's a full American roster.
Yeah.
They're pretty much just an upgrade, arguably upgraded 2022 Atlanta.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Final team.
yeah.
Final team? Final team. The Vancouver Titans.
Dude, Vancouver's cooking something up.
Favorite.
They
With
are.
sugar free.
Yeah, I didn't.
Sugar-free.
Sugar Free's not in the thing, but he's been announced to the team. They also
Sugar-free.
re-signed Aspire, and they signed Faith, Crimzo, and Punk. I would really want to like these guys. They have really good players. I'm high on
Yeah.
Punk. I really like Aspire, Sugar Free,
Who's their
Faith,
coach right now?
Crimzo.
Who's their lone coach?
That's Ascoft.
Oh.
I think Ascoft's good. I mean, the team went 5-2 under him since he was signed. So I think he's solid, but
Yeah.
But so, to me, it kind of feels like Titans are kind of picking up the scraps of NA talent. I think
Yeah.
Toronto just has a
Yeah.
monopoly on NA talent right now.
Yeah.
Aspire, Sugar Free, like these guys are pretty much as good as it's going to get, aside from like
Yeah.
Kepster and Kai.
No, these are just like the American Tornado players who aren't on Defiant, and they are still really, really talented. And then you have Crimzo, you have Punk, and okay, I'm still not sure about the Faith signing. I think you could have gone for someone better, but I think
I
Faith
could.
will do you good. I think this team could be like around mid
I
tier.
have
I think
faith
they're
in
going to
Faith.
make plans this year. I have faith, not
I
in
think-
Faith, but in the team as a whole to make plans at the very least.
I know it's a meme, but I feel like these are going to basically be the same as Boston last year. It's hard for me to rate these guys too highly just because every other team is looking so much better. And
Yeah.
these guys are picking up kind of middling talent. But like,
Oh, I think
I think they're going to be. I think they're going to be solidly better than like, Paris, Washington, and New York. Like easily better than the bottom 3. They'll probably
Definitely.
steal some wins over people above them. And yeah,
I would say
I think
Crimzo
they're solid.
is not. Crimzo did great. I think Crimzo. I think in
I agree.
stats alone was just outside of the top 5. Like
Yeah, and no,
and that's
his Zen
good.
stats
That's
were like
really
top.
good.
His Zen stats
then-
were like better than like Izayaki and stuff. His Zen stats
then-
were top of the line.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me finish.
And then
Wait, his Zen stats were top of the line, yet they still thought it was a very, very, very clever idea to run MCD on Zen half the time, anyways. Even though MCD Zen was absolutely atrocious at times, they still
Hey,
wanted
the
to
thing
run
about
that
Crimzo-
over his Ana.
the thing about Crimzo, I think he's a really
Crimzo,
strong
yeah.
talent, but like, let's check out the other teams. They have, Ultraviolet, Finn, Lastro Skew. Like, I just don't think he really. I couldn't say
Yeah,
he's
maybe.
above average talent when you look at all these other teams.
I
Like-
see what you're saying.
I would say
I
he's
want to
above
like him.
average.
I think he's a really good player, but it's just like
I
he's
think he's
middling
above
when you
average.
compare him to everyone else in NA.
Well, he's not a star, but he's above average.
I agree.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think Aspire is fucking incredible, though. I'm really high on Aspire.
The Aspire carry in 2021 was amazing.
And 2022, dude, I think he was genuinely like a top 5 Sojourn. NA.
He started off
Maybe.
definitely. I don't know if he stayed that way, but he started off as
He was great.
absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, but you gotta take into account he was carrying the Vancouver's fat ass to a fucking stage playoff
Yeah,
appearance.
he has been solo carrying them, like quote unquote solo carrying them for 2 years. That's insane. Like he's absolutely amazing. And then he's
Yeah.
gonna be next to Sugar Free. Sugar Free. That's amazing.
It's gonna be
Like,
so nuts, dude.
Okay, listen.
We've been waiting for Sugar Free since he was like 13, man. He's fucking.
Next fucking Patafan, man. Like, honestly.
I would say he's better
Literally.
than Patterson.
He's probably better than Patafan, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Okay,
right.
here's-
We
Even
gotta
more
wrap
so,
this up.
he has
We
been
gotta
more
wrap this
active
up.
than Paddleton too.
We'll wrap this up, but here's one thing I'm worried about Sugar Free. I feel like part of the reason Padafan was such a success is because Gladiators have a top tier coaching staff. I
Oh,
don't know
you're
if I
right.
feel the same about Ascoft.
I
So
want to
do you
say,
guys think- Yeah.
Sugar Free was more active though. Sugar Free was like a hitman. He got like signed to random contenders teams to like do some shit, like and just get out. Like he has been more active than
That is true.
Paddleton.
Yeah, he's literally a hitman.
I think he has
he was
like
just
100+ hours on just like last competitive season alone, so he's still grinding the game. Like
he was a bigger. I think he's grinding. He was grinding more than Paddleton. He is actually. He looks committed.
I
he
remember Padafan
yeah.
being like 4K SR like before the season started.
No,
Yeah,
no.
that was not okay.
Hey, he was so good though. That whole narrative was pretty stupid. But yeah.
No, I know it was stupid, but yeah.
It was stupid. No, the whole narrative that like, oh, Glads are gonna struggle because they don't have a good second DPS. They have a washed ons and a masters player. Like, bro, shut the fuck up. Yeah.
Fuck. No.
Yeah,
Um,
he's kinda
And then
washed.
Glads ended up winning 2 tournaments, and both Padafan and Ons popped off in their tournament finals. So you know,
I want
I
to
still
like Titans. I want to like Titans. I think
wanna
they're
see
going to
who
be
they get.
solid. I think they're an upset, like a lower mid-tier upset team, but it's hard for me to say that they're going to be anything special when even like I take even like Dallas and Glads over them, and I think Dallas and Glads are going to be like the gatekeeper teams this year.
I
Personally.
just see this. Honestly, I just see this team as like a hopefully in between team for Sugar Free before he steps up to a high tier team next year.
yeah.
But that's if you want like if we're gonna end this discussion pretty soon. But there's there's still a lot of players who do not have a confirmed place who really should have a place. Like I think
Creative.
well, yeah, I think if you look at it's shocking that Dante is just not here. League
Yes.
is not confirmed. 2U is
Yeah.
not confirmed. RPen is not confirmed.
None
X-Ray,
of the none
wait,
of
did you
the
just say X-Ray?
Toronto
Did you say
Defiant
X-Ray?
roster.
he's not confirmed,
He's-
right?
Wait, did you say X-Ray?
Yeah.
He's not on a team.
Thank you. Thank
No,
you.
but okay,
love
none of
X-Ray.
the
He
Toronto
needs to go- he
Defiant
needs to be in the
roster
league
last
now.
year
Yeah.
is on a team. Like, not
And I
even
think of-
Twilight Throwing or
Yeah.
Heesang.
Oh yeah,
And I
he's
think
so-
Yaki, Prophet, Choi is still not confirmed where the hell he's going to go.
Who the fuck is
Top
Profit
regular.
not on a team right now? Like Jesus Christ.
Spectra,
Spectra.
Alpha Yi.
T-Wave,
Dragon.
Night God,
So many
Night God,
names.
Night God, Profet, Probe,
Night God,
Aliens.
yes.
It's
So many
crazy.
Alien, Sea-Wave, Aprida,
Viper.
Lethal.
oh, Frida.
I feel like these teams are just going to go to
Victoria.
like mediocre teams next year because I feel like all the
Yeah.
top teams are more or less done with the roster.
Yeah, and then Simple. I need Simple, bro. He was fucking amazing. And there's so much talent that just they have to get a spot, but they're still not announced, and that saddens me.
Yeah,
And kind of worries me because it feels like some of them are just gonna get left out.
Yeah, I think
Even
that's
though
how
they
it
deserve it.
goes. Yeah, check
Victoria
it.
they
deserves
deserve-
another chance.
Wait, hold on. All right, I think we gotta cut it off here. Thank you everyone
Yeah.
for watching and listening to our podcast. Make sure to subscribe to my channel, subscribe to PredGod, and yeah,
I love you.
Hopefully,
Bye.
love you guys.
hopefully we
Bye,
can come
YouTube.
back in a few weeks when more teams have completed their rosters. Maybe do like a makeshift power ranking. Also, breaking news: it looks like Jake has retired. So
No.
yeah,
Ah. Well,
Yeah.
legendary name.
actual legendary name. You know, it's
Yeah.
weird to imagine an Overwatch League without Jake, but
Been around for centuries, man.
He's still gonna probably like make analysis videos. He'll be around the scene, so
he'll be around the scene, but not officially. But
Give him
Yeah.
some love, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
We love you, Jake. All right.
love you, Jake.
What's
Hopefully we can come back in a few
know
weeks
that-
for like a
I
power
love-
ranking podcast, maybe. Possibly.
Yeah.
We'll see. But yeah, thank you all for coming out and peace.
Bye-bye.
Hey.